As a narcissist, I enjoyed my chaos. I enjoyed the things that I created, the things that I enabled, the things that I manipulated, because at that time, that was mine. That was my chaos to control, to manipulate, to abuse. But that was my chaos. See, a lot of times people talk about narcissism and they've been in those narcissistic relationships and they wonder, like, why would anyone want to be in that? Like, why would anyone want to put up with the lies, the gaslighting, the manipulating? Like, why would they want to put out all this effort to be able to hurt and abuse another person? Like, why would they do that? A lot of times it is going back to their self-image, how they want to be perceived, how they want others to think about them. So they use projection, they use mirroring, they use different things like that to be able to try to convince other people who they are, to try to convince themselves who they are, when in reality they're just hiding behind a shell of creating an image that they want other people to see. And in these narcissistic relationships, these toxic relationships that people have, it becomes very, very chaotic very quickly. You say things fall apart, they devalue, they hurt, they discard. And in the middle of all the chaos, there's the narcissist kind of sitting back and enjoying it and watching it play out. And a lot of times people look at it and they're like, why in the world would someone be okay with that? Why in the world would someone enjoy that? Or why in the world would someone like not think like, hey, I want to get out of this? A lot of times the difference in the mindset of a narcissist is just the idea that it's my chaos and I'm in control. You see, narcissism wants to be in control. They want to be in control of other people. They want to be in control of other things. They want to be in control of the money. They want to be in control of the time. They want to be in control of the family and friends, the people that you interact with. They want to be in control of just about everything. And with that control comes that entitlement, that sense of superiority, that sense of overbearing, that sense of making sure that they are the ones that are in control. And for the other person, it creates a lot of chaos. It creates a lot of push-pull. It creates a lot of dissonance of I love you and then I scream at you. Or I got something nice and then I discard you. Or I value you and then I ghost you and I go no contact. Or maybe the narcissist just does a silent treatment and you're stuck there wondering, what in the world did I do wrong? You see, from the outside, a lot of the things that narcissists do is extremely chaotic, and a lot of them are. But there's also the flip side for the narcissist, that they enjoy the aspect of chaos. Because in the aspect of chaos, there's a peace, an idea of control. And that's what the narcissist oftentimes is trying to do. They're trying to control an outcome. They're trying to control a perception. They're trying to control everyone's perspective of the narcissist image. And so as a narcissist tries to do that more and more and more, it ramps up more and more. From just simple lies to big lies, from just gaslighting to abuse to manipulation to abuse, everything. It continues to ramp up and get worse and worse. And people look at that and they're like, wait a second, that chaos is kind of crazy. Well, for the narcissist, that chaos is normal. For that narcissist, that chaos is actually comfort. Because in the middle of that chaos, there's that aspect that, hey, I'm in control of the situation. I'm in control of that person's reactions, their responses, their emotions, their ability to decide between right and wrong, because they're so inundated with everything that I've done, with everything I've said, with how I've worked on changing their reality, of their perception. And there's a lot of aspects that a narcissist is all about that control. And as a result, they will try over and over and over again to gaslight and manipulate you into a place of submission where you don't have a voice. As a narcissist, these are things that I did. These are the things that I still struggle with at times. Different levels, different varying degrees. But the aspect of control is a really, really tough subject to be able to pull away from. To actually admit that I don't control everything. To actually admit that I am not the center of the universe. To actually admit that I'm not the smartest person in the room, or I'm not the best person, or I'm not the best looking, or whatever it might be. To actually have to come to admit that is like really frustrating and like really hard. Because I don't want to admit that. I don't want to acknowledge that there might be someone better than me. that there might be someone who can do something better or act better or whatever it might be. This I even had like growing up at times. There was a point in my life where I was learning how to play piano. And my mom wanted me to play piano. She was teaching me piano. I played it for a while. And then I got to a place where I didn't enjoy that much. I didn't want to continue it that much. But really, underneath all of that, I got to the place that I realized no matter how I was in this moment, I wasn't going to get to a certain level of being so awesome at it. No matter what I did, I wasn't going to be the best at it, because there was this person that I knew that was really good at playing piano. Or there's this person that I knew that I saw how well they articulated things with how they played and with how they could, just play without music, things like that. And so for me, I got to the place where I was like, I don't want to do it. Like, this is no longer satisfying because I can't be the best at it and because I can't be in control of the outcome. So I was like, okay, I don't want to do it anymore. I'd rather do something else. I'd rather do something that I think I'm better at, or that I can prove in my mindset, or I can gaslight or manipulate other people to think that I'm the best at it. Because it's all about that image, and it's all about control. As I grew up, continued into college, got engaged, married, then the chaos ensued a million times. And in the midst of chaotic moments of triangulation and love bombing and affairs and work issues and everything that is going on in my life, in the midst of all that chaos, it felt normal. It felt like this is my actual reality because of the fact that I can actually manipulate. I can actually pull levers and see things actually happen. I can actually change the perception of somebody based on how I interact with them or how I guilt trip them into thinking one thing or the other. I can go ahead and I can sideline different projects coming up with work because of how I feel about them. I can go ahead and say things to people to get them on my side, to put them away. I can manipulate the outcome of different things. And through all the hecticness, all the busyness, all the craziness, there's an aspect that chaos for the narcissist is still control. The hard thing now is stepping back and breaking out of that control and being okay with the calm. For me, this is one of the hardest things that I have to work with on a day-to-day basis of what does the calm actually look like for me? When the dust settles, when everything's over, and when it's just me by myself with my thoughts, am I actually able to be okay? Or is that war kind of raging one more time saying, hey, what you have right now isn't enough. You need to create chaos. You need to control. And that urge sometimes keeps bubbling up and keeps shoving aside regular things or things that I know to be right. And it becomes a fight. It becomes a battle each and every day to not create chaos on purpose of control and to step back and say, hey, I don't need to control everything. To say, hey, other people can have access to this part of my life. Other people can show me how to do this aspect. Other people can teach me something. Other people can say that I'm wrong and not take offense to it. And in that moment of thinking through how do I handle the calm, I realize on a day-to-day basis it's a constant fight to make sure that I handle the calm. I actually wrote in my journal as I was journaling today that the calm is going to be the biggest battle. The chaos wasn't the biggest battle. It feels like the biggest battle, but the chaos for me is in the calm, is in the idea of, wait, I need to take a step back and I need to realize that I'm not number one. I need to work on having honest vulnerability, consistent change. I need to work on growing myself to be the best person I can possibly be. And that calm is very scary. Narcissists love the chaos because in the middle of chaos, they're still in control. I hope you like what you've seen here today. I've got a lot more videos that I want to be able to share with you and talk about my journey with narcissism, my journey of what I'm working through sometimes on a day-to-day basis. If you want to watch more, if you want to hear more, please subscribe. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Would love to have you interact there with some of the smaller videos and the shorter clips. Or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, just give a couple ratings. That way more people can hear about narcissism. And as I'm trying to bring awareness, hope, awareness, growth, healing, and change is really what I'm on this platform for. So check it out. If you're interested in joining a group of like-minded people, we've got the Narc app. You can get it on Apple Store or Google Play. We'd love to have you interact with people who have been in narcissistic abusive relationships and that are finding their freedom and getting there one day, no contact at a time, and growing in that as best they can. Would love to interact with you more, so subscribe to watch more videos.